A couple wheel burns on the side of that thing ain't gonna hurt my feelings. I mean, we'll get new bodies next year.
This is their last Speedway race?
Yeah.
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 I had to laugh at the speed of. He said Schrader's helmet's a little charcoal, but said he thinks that's cool. Only Schrader.
I was gonna say he used to run those sprint cars, and he'd come back on Sundays after flying somewhere, and they'd just be scratched up where he got on his roof, and he thought that was cool too, to show them to you where they ground off all the way to the styrofoam.
Wow, Schrader thought that was cool. Yeah. And finally, go ahead.
I got 16, so obviously I missed a couple here.
What you got?
I got Schrader, Todd Bodine, Mike Dillon, Bill Parsons, Tony Raines, Krogh, Bound, Fedowa, Barrier, Hall, Green, Mark Green, Wayne Grubb, Hamilton Jr., Jeff Fuller, McLaughlin, and Hillen. I got 16. Who am I missing?
You got Jeff Green, right?
I got Mark Green.
Jeff Green. Remember he spun. He was the first car that spun.
Okay. Are they not scoring Parker? Parker?
Yeah.
Are they not scoring him? It's got him as off. No, now they got him 2.
2 laps down.
Yeah.
So we had Jeff Green. That gives me 17.
Back to Adam. Everybody ahead of Adam.
Welcome back to Talladega Superspeedway here in Talladega, Alabama. The Touchstone Energy 300 under caution for the 3rd time today, and a multi-car accident on lap 68 involving Kenny Schrader with a tap from behind by the car number 75, Kelly Denton.
There's Schrader in the 15 car. You see Jeff Green spin down to the inside, but here comes the wreck right behind them.
And that fire erupts, comes all the way back into Schrader's car, and there's the charred helmet being held by the driver, and Bill Weber, he looks to be okay, huh?
Yeah, very disappointed, but physically fine, and obviously you are disappointed.
Yeah, we had a good car. Bad at the start of the race, you know, went back to last. Run back up there and just ride along, and we got drop kicked, you know, coming out of the trial a ton. And there was no getting it gathered up.
You won't believe it when you see it.
Oh, I believe it. Yeah. I didn't believe it when I saw it coming. I said, he's not going to. I mean, this isn't the part of the track where you bump draft. You don't bump draft 10 mile an hour faster, but...
Show us your helmet, Kenny.
It just got a little hot. Hit something a little hard, but it's a bell. Held up good.
Okay, on the pole tomorrow. Better luck on Sunday.
Thank you.
To Ray Dunlap.
Well, Bill, Bobby Hillen's back here in the garage. They just brought his race car back here. A big wall of smoke. Were you able to even see anything?
Well, you know, it happened way up in front of us, and I thought for sure our group was going to get woed down. And, you know, I personally tried to slow down as much as I could and still keep my car straight. And when we got to it, boy, it just all closed up on me. And, you know, I mean, I felt like a ball in a fuse machine. I got hit every way I could, you know, about 10 different times. You know, not really hard any. I think we can get back out and get some points, but I hate it for Sparkles Towels. They were with us for a one-race deal, and we want to do a good job. But there's a lot. I tell you, it's great to see all the fans here in the stands for a Busch race. And the race was going good up until then, you know. And you just hope all day long, you know, stay cool, everybody stay cool. And it doesn't take but one little bump, and man, it'll tear up about $1 million equipment real quick.
Absolutely. And but guys, I've looked around at some of the cars that are back here in the garage. There are crews working on them, but of the 15 or 16 that are in the garage now, looks to me like maybe 3, maybe 4 of them might be able to get back out of there.
All right, let's set the cars that were involved in this crash, this wild scramble here on lap 68. There were 21 cars that we have currently involved. McLaughlin, Todd Bodine, Ken Schrader, Kelly Denton, and Jeff Green. Brad Loney, the short track ace from Iowa. Jeff Krogh, heavily damaged in front of his car. Shane Hall, Phil Parsons, front and rear damage. Mark Green's Dr. Pepper car also involved. Chuck Bound, Mike Dillon, Ed Barrier, Kevin Grubb, and Bobby Hamilton Jr., as well as Tim Fedewa, you heard from a moment ago, Jeff Fuller, Wayne Grubb, Bobby Hillen, Tony Raines, and Matt Hutter in the car number 99. Now, one driver a little bit ago that came through this incident must have had hit both sets of fingers crossed and toes crossed. He could not see a thing. We're talking about Stanton Barrett in the Channel Lock Chevrolet. Watch his route through the accident.
He drives into the smoke, and we see Larry Pearson go by in the 0-0, and Stanton must not be doing 20 miles per hour, and that's about the right speed to drive through there.
That's exactly the right speed. You see Larry Pearson right to the right. By the time they get there, it's like nothing ever happened. It's just like you came through a fog bank. Everybody's already spun down off the thing, but those two guys did a great job because they could have just as easily been added to that list of 20.
And by getting through that accident, Stanton Barrett now being shown in 11th position. Former stuntman on a number of Hollywood shows and movies. Now getting back to NASCAR racing. Just 26 years of age, the son of Stan Barrett. Set that land speed record years ago in that rocket car out in Bonneville. Second generation driver showing his mettle here in Busch competition.
You saw the pace car go by just a moment ago with the lights off. The flashing lights are off, which means next time by we'll see the green flag and we'll be back racing with just, what, 36 laps to go, something like that.
Matt Kenseth in the DeWalt Chevrolet, weaving back and forth, trying to get a little heat in those tires. We were told the temperatures have dropped about 7 or 8 degrees in the last 20 minutes or so. It has certainly gotten cool in the garage area, as we have some 21 race cars down there trying to be repaired to get back on the racetrack.
One other thing they're doing, Jerry, is weaving the car back and forth to make sure, trying to find out if they have a flat tire, because there's a tremendous amount of debris there. If they puncture a tire, by weaving the car back and forth, sometimes you can tell and dive in the pits and get a fresh tire.
All right, talking about more Busch action. Well, next Saturday we'll be at California Speedway. A special presentation of the NASCAR Busch Series Auto Club 300 at 2 o'clock Eastern Time. That's live from California Speedway in Fontana. And that's followed by the classic Kentucky Derby, 4:30 Eastern Time. The Run for the Roses. That's on ABC Sports next Saturday. Coming your way. Well, the fans in the stands here have certainly got their money's worth today with all the action they saw earlier today at NASCAR Happy Hour, International Race of Champions, and now our live coverage of the Busch Series Touchstone Energy 300. Matt Kenseth will lead them down as they complete lap 78.
That 4-car, Lance Knox car on the inside of Lyndon Amick. He has some help. Casey Atwood, the 27 car, right on his back bumper. And they'll take over that 3rd spot with the 4-car. Now Atwood takes over the 4th spot. And here comes Nemechek alongside.
I wouldn't be surprised now at this point in time in the race if we don't see a lot more staying in this crowd. Half the cars have been taken out. There's only half the amount of cars on the racetrack, 18, 19, 20 some cars on the racetrack that are running. So you don't have that opportunity for the leaders to get bunched up 2 and 3 wide and catch back up. You need to keep touch with the leaders. So I'm thinking these guys may want to stay in line a little bit better.
As you watch this side-by-side action for 4th place between Atwood and Nemechek, as David Green makes a move down the backstretch. Ray Dunlap is caught up with another driver who was involved in that incident, Jeff Krogh.
Well, they're surveying the damage down here, but Jeff, I know you've been on fire before, but have you ever hit that hard?
No, that was probably one of the harder hits I've ever had. Yeah, just unfortunate. You know, we had a good car today, and it just we've seen the wreck up ahead of us, but when you're going 180 miles an hour, nothing you really can do. You know, we were up on it so quick. It's just unfortunate for all these guys. I think there's 14 of us involved, but those things will happen, I guess.
Going that fast, it's inevitable to happen here at Talladega, and this race car, guys, is really a mess.
But you can build race cars. Unfortunately, NASCAR's #1 priority is safety, and those drivers have been able to walk away and come back and talk to us. How about the car number 5, guys? The Snyder Trucking car. It's the orange and white Chevrolet in the middle of that pack. Dick Trickle, and he started way back in 43rd position, shotgun on the field.
Yep. I'm sorry, Kyle, go ahead.
No, and I was just going to say he's had a terrible year this year. They've missed races, they've struggled, and that's Jimmy Spencer's, one of Jimmy Spencer's teams. And, you know, it's important for those guys to be able to come out, and I think it's important for Dick to come and show everybody that he can still run up front.
Purvis going for the lead. That's the 4 car. And right behind him, he does have David Green.
2 different lines.
83's coming.
On the bottom of the racetrack, one on top. And remember, the very first lap of the race, that car number 4 was black flagged by NASCAR for jumping the start. He had a stop-and-go penalty. Came back on the racetrack, lost a lap, got his lap back on the caution flag, and now is battling his life away, running those tires as hard as he can for the lead here at Talladega.
When the 93 gets there, Joe, let's pull out.
That's a spotter telling Joe Nemechek when Blaney, the 93 car, gets to him, pull out in front of him, and you guys go together.
Five cars on the bottom of the racetrack. The 4 is Purvis. The 41 is David Green. Then Nemechek, Blaney, and Stanton Barrett. Let's go back down to the pits.
Well, Jerry, it could have been real interesting as far as fuel mileage goes. You guys have kind of had a strategy, but that was going to be if there was no caution. And let's say it's an understatement to say there was a caution.
Yeah, that's a big understatement. Yeah, Donnie made a call. We were going to go all the way on fuel. We came in, topped it off. The Phillips 66 Chevy was getting great fuel mileage. We didn't have the fastest car. It was okay. Could do some drafting, but I needed help. And we decided to go on a fuel mileage deal and try to beat them. And you're right, we didn't need that caution. And it's a shame, you know, one guy makes a mistake and it collects a lot of people. But, you know, it really hurt us in points. That's the disappointing part. We just needed to finish this race. The Phillips 66 crew doing a great job all day.
Pull out. Don't be afraid.
It's a shame to have to sit in the garage with a wrecked one.
Did you try to drive through it?
Well, I saw the smoke. I was right behind Phil, and we had both slowed down, and I don't know who was behind me, but they run right into me and pushed me into Phil, and then we started crashing from there. So there was nothing we could do about it. You know, we were going to miss it, though.
Both the 66 car and the 36 are working awfully hard to try to get out and make just a couple more laps to get them a few more points.
When you take 16 cars involved in the crash or whatever, if a couple of cars can go out and run one more lap, will they gain 14 positions or 42 points? And we see Purvis has taken that lead, and David Green is now in second spot.
All right, laps are winding down at Talladega. Still overcast skies, but Jeff Purvis, the sun is shining on his afternoon. Back with more in just a moment. Stay with us.
Cars on the bottom.
Wow.
Message, boy. Stay right there.
Jason Keller picked up a bunch of points on that deal. Whereas he's 48 back. He may not, though. Okay.